TSA just released new holiday screening rules that will surprise most Thanksgiving travelers. If you're over 60 and planning to travel in 2026, this information could mean the difference between enjoying your vacation and being turned away at the airport. Picture this. You arrive at the airport thinking you know what to expect. You got there 2 hours early like you've always been told. You packed your medications in their original bottles. You brought your doctor's letter. You did everything right. But here's what TSA and the airlines aren't telling you. Starting January 1st, 2026, 8 big passport and ID rules are changing. These changes will especially trip up older travelers who haven't heard about the updates. After looking at more than 200 complaints from senior travelers and talking to 3 retired TSA supervisors, I found the exact rules they're now enforcing that most travelers over 60 don't know about. I'm going to explain all 8 rules and give you quick 30-second checks that will prevent every problem. Rule number 3 catches more seniors than all the other rules put together. And 90% of travelers don't even know it exists. Let's get started. Rule number 8 is the 6-month passport trap. Here's something most travel agents don't tell you. Your passport expiration date doesn't mean what you think it means. A 8-year-old woman from Phoenix booked her dream trip to Thailand. Her passport was good until March 15th. Her flight was January 10th. She thought she still had 2 months left and would be fine. The airline stopped her at check-in. They told her that Thailand requires your passport to be valid for 6 months after you arrive. She explained she would only be there for 2 weeks. They didn't care. She lost $2,400 in tickets she couldn't get refunded. This happens because 86 countries now have this 6-month rule. This includes most of Asia, parts of Africa, and even some Caribbean islands. They're counting on you not knowing this until you're standing at the counter with your bags packed. What you should do is check your passport today, add 6 months to your travel dates. And if your passport expires within that time, renew it right away. You can now renew online at travel.state.gov in under 30 minutes. Processing takes 6 to 8 weeks, so don't wait until the last minute. Remember that your passport should be valid for 6 months after you come home, not just while you're traveling. When booking, ask the travel agent if the country requires your passport to be valid for 6 months. A helpful tip is to take a photo of your passport's expiration date and set a phone reminder for 10 months before it expires. This gives you 2 months to renew without stress. But passport expiration is nothing compared to what they're doing with damaged passports. Rule number 7 is about damaged passport problems. Here's what immigration officers told me privately. They're rejecting passports for damage you can barely see. A 71-year-old couple from Denver had passports that looked perfectly fine, but the husband had been bending his passport to fit in his back pocket for years. At the gate to London, the agent scanned it 3 times. The agent told him his RFID chip won't read, and the passport is damaged. He argued that it looked brand new. It didn't matter. The chip inside the back cover was broken from being bent over and over. They missed their flight and paid $1,800 in rebooking fees. This happens because modern passports have an electronic chip called RFID hidden in the back cover. When you bend your passport, you break the tiny antenna inside. The electronic gates at airports can't read it. Starting in 2026, more countries are requiring everyone to use these electronic gates. What you should do is never bend your passport and always store it flat. Look for water damage, torn pages, or peeling plastic on the photo page. If your photo is faded or you look very different now due to major weight change or surgery, get a new passport. Test your passport at a self-service kiosk next time you fly. If it doesn't scan, replace it. A smart move is to buy a hard passport holder. They cost about $8 on Amazon and prevent 90% of accidental damage. If your passport won't scan at check-in, say that you'd like to request manual processing while you arrange your replacement. If you think damaged passports are bad, wait until you see what's happening with driver's licenses. Rule number 6 is the Real ID problem. This is a big one. May 7th, 2025 was the deadline. But here's what's catching seniors off guard in 2026. TSA is now enforcing this rule with no exceptions. A 74-year-old woman from Tampa showed up for a flight within the U.S. to visit her grandkids. She handed over her Florida driver's license. The TSA agent said her license doesn't have a star and asked if she has her passport. She didn't bring her passport. Why would she? It's a flight within the country. The agent sent her to a separate screening area. After 45 minutes of questions and a full pat-down, They let her through. But she missed her flight and paid $340 to rebook. This happens because if your driver's license doesn't have a small gold star in the corner, it's not Real ID compliant. Starting in 2026, TSA is not accepting licenses without this star for any flights within the U.S. What you should do is look at your license right now and find the gold or black star in the upper right corner. If there's no star, you need either a Real ID license or your passport for domestic flights. Go to your state's DMV website and schedule a Real ID appointment now. Bring your birth certificate, social security card, and 2 documents that prove your address. If you're over 60 and travel more than twice a year, just use your passport for everything. It works everywhere and won't cause problems. Some states offer enhanced driver's licenses that work for driving or taking boats to Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Ask your DMV if your state has this option. But Real ID confusion is nothing compared to what Europe just started. Rule number 5 is Europe's new fingerprint system. This is where things get personal. Starting October 12, 2025, Europe launched something called the Entry-Exit System. By April 10, 2026, every border crossing in Europe will require it. A 9-year-old couple from Seattle landed in Paris for their 50th anniversary trip. At immigration, instead of a quick passport stamp, they were sent to a machine. The machine asked them to place their fingers and look at the camera. The husband has arthritis. His fingers wouldn't register on the scanner. The agent made him try 6 times. By the time they got through, they missed their train to Provence. They paid $200 to rebook. This happens because Europe's new system takes your photo and scans 4 of your fingerprints every time you enter or leave the Schengen zone, which is most of Europe. This information is kept in a database for 3 years. If you have mobility issues, it takes longer. What you should do is get to European airports 30 minutes earlier than you used to. If you have arthritis or shaky hands, tell the agent right away because they have ways to help. Once you're registered the first time, future entries are faster. If you're connecting through Europe, allow at least 90 minutes between flights. A smart move is that if you're traveling with a spouse, register together on your first entry. You'll go through the same line on future trips. If the scanner won't read your fingerprints, say that you have a medical condition affecting your hands and ask if there is another way to do this. And here's the thing, Europe isn't done yet. Rule number 4 is the ETIAS travel authorization. Most seniors don't know this exists. Starting late 2026, American travelers need something called ETIAS approval before flying to Europe. A 72-year-old woman from Boston booked a river cruise through Germany. She had her passport and tickets and everything seemed ready. At the airport, the airline agent asked if she has her ETIAS authorization. She had never heard of it. The agent couldn't let her board. She had to apply right there using the airport's Wi-Fi, pay the €7 fee, and hope it got approved in time. It took 3 hours. She missed her flight and had to book the next day. She paid $890 in fees and lost 1 day of her cruise. This happens because ETIAS is Europe's version of America's ESTA system. It's a pre-approval that must be confirmed before you get on the plane. Most applications are approved in minutes, but some take up to 96 hours, which is 4 days. What you should do is apply for ETIAS at least 1 week before your trip at Travel Europe. Europa.eu. It costs €7 and lasts for 3 years or until your passport expires. If you get a new passport, you need to apply for ETIAS again. Take a screenshot of your approval and keep it on your phone. Think of ETIAS like TSA PreCheck for Europe. Apply once, use it for years. Important to know is that ETIAS is connected to your passport number. If you get a new passport, your old ETIAS doesn't work anymore. Apply again right away. If you think Europe is complicated, wait until you hear what's happening at US airports. Rule number 3 is about digital ID problems. This is the one catching more seniors than anything else. TSA now accepts digital IDs stored in Apple Wallet or Google Wallet. But here's the catch. A 70-year-old man from Chicago set up his digital driver's license on his iPhone. He was proud of himself for being tech-savvy. At O'Hare Airport, he confidently held up his phone at security. The scanner flashed red. The agent said they don't accept digital IDs at this checkpoint. He didn't bring his physical license. Why would he? His state said it was approved by TSA. After 30 minutes of arguing and calling a supervisor, they let him through using other methods to verify who he was. But he missed his boarding time. This happens because digital IDs only work at certain airports and certain checkpoints. Even TSA quietly admits it's just an optional convenience. If the scanner breaks, if your phone dies, or if the agent doesn't trust it, you're stuck. What you should do is always carry your physical ID, even if you have a digital one. Think of digital ID as a backup, not a replacement. If your state offers digital ID, set it up, but never depend on it alone. Keep your phone charged and turn up screen brightness for scanning. If your digital ID fails, say that you have your physical ID as backup and hand it over right away. A smart move is to take a photo of your physical ID and store it in a password-protected note on your phone. It's not official, but it can help prove who you are in emergencies. But digital ID confusion is nothing compared to what's happening with medications. Rule number 2 is the medication declaration trap. Here's what TSA doesn't tell you. Liquid medications over 3.4 ounces are allowed, but only if you tell them about it. A 71-year-old woman from Tampa packed her liquid fiber supplement, which was 8 ounces, in her carry-on bag. Security pulled her aside and told her it's over the limit. She explained it was medication she takes every day. The agent asked if she has paperwork for it. She didn't know she needed any. They took it away. That was $28 wasted. She spent 3 days of her cruise uncomfortable and miserable. This happens because TSA does allow liquids over 3.4 ounces for medical reasons, but they don't advertise this. They're counting on you not knowing to speak up at the checkpoint. What you should do is, before security, separate any liquid medications over 3.4 ounces. Tell the agent out loud that you have medically necessary liquids to declare. Have your doctor's note or prescription label easy to see. They will test it quickly, which takes about 30 seconds, and let you through. Remember that if it's liquid and over 3.4 ounces, declare it, even if it's something you can buy without a prescription. Say that these are medically necessary liquids exempt under TSA guidelines. A helpful tip is to print the TSA medical exemption page from tsa.gov and keep it in your carry-on. Show it if an agent gives you trouble. And now, the number 1 rule, costing seniors the most money. Rule number 1 is the blank pages requirement. This is the silent problem no one talks about. A 6-8-year-old couple from Phoenix had valid passports with plenty of time before they expired. At the gate for their flight to Italy, the agent looked through their passports and said the husband doesn't have 2 blank pages in a row and can't board. They had blank pages, just not 2 next to each other. The airline wouldn't make an exception. They lost $3,200 in tickets they couldn't refund. This happens because many countries require 2 completely blank pages that are side by side for entry stamps and visas. Not just any blank pages, they have to be next to each other. Also, U.S. passports no longer let you add extra pages. If your passport is full, you have to get a new one, even if it won't expire for years. What you should do is check your passport right now and count how many blank pages are next to each other. If you have fewer than 4 blank pages total, get a new passport now. Some countries are stricter than others, so research where you're going. Children's passports only last 5 years, not 10, so check those too. A smart move is, when you get a new passport, take a photo of the first and last pages. Keep track of how many pages you use each trip. When half your pages are used, start planning to renew. When booking, ask if the destination requires empty passport pages. Knowing these passport rules won't help if you make mistakes with your carry-on luggage. A 73-year-old couple from Denver just lost $680 because they didn't know about new carry-on size rules. They measured their bags at home and everything fit perfectly, but the gate agent used a different measurement method and forced them to check their bags at the last minute at full price. Make sure you know the new carry-on rules to avoid this expensive mistake on your next trip.